one. So, been keeping up with Bitcoin lately. 2024 was a pretty crazy year for crypto, and we've got a whole bunch of new articles to unpack. Like, seriously, a whole stack.
Yeah, it's been, well, a lot has happened.
We're going to dive into the biggest events and all the players involved and, try to figure out what it all means for you.
Yeah, I think even a year ago, a lot of people were still pretty skeptical about Bitcoin.
Right.
Now, I mean, it's like mainstream. It's everywhere.
It really is. Like, remember when Bitcoin hit that record high of $100,000 this year? It felt like a huge moment, like we were breaking through some kind of barrier.
Yeah, definitely. It was symbolic, like a real sign that Bitcoin was, valuable.
Yeah.
A legitimate way to store value.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's come down a bit since then. It's around $95,000 now as of December 26th.
Right.
But, it's still on the way up.
Yeah, just a little dip. Still crazy strong, though. But hey, speaking of ups and downs, maybe things will get a little less bumpy now that we've had this whole ETF earthquake.
Oh, yeah, the ETFs.
Yeah.
That was big.
Yeah, everyone's talking about it.
So back in January, the SEC, they decided to approve spot Bitcoin ETFs. And it was a huge turning point.
Huge.
Because, think about it, before that, it was hard for big institutional investors to get into Bitcoin.
Like what kind of investors?
Like pension funds.
Okay.
They had very limited options.
Okay.
But now with the ETFs, it's way easier for them to get involved.
So can you break down ETFs for me? Like, I get that they're important, but for anyone listening who might not know, what are they exactly?
Sure, yeah. Think of it like buying a share of a company, right?
Okay.
But instead of a company, you're buying into Bitcoin.
Oh, that makes sense.
Exactly. So ETFs make investing in Bitcoin, like as simple as buying a stock.
Got it.
Which, I mean, that's a big deal for accessibility. And, get this, Bitcoin ETFs, they actually hold more assets than gold ETFs now.
Wow. Okay, that's a big statement.
It is.
Seems like people are really starting to see Bitcoin as a real alternative to gold. What else are you seeing out there in terms of, institutions getting involved?
Well, we've got some big names jumping in, like BNY Mellon, America's oldest bank.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of them.
Well, they're offering Bitcoin custody services now.
Oh, really? Wow.
And then there's BlackRock, the biggest asset manager in the world.
Right, yeah.
They launched their own Bitcoin ETF.
Interesting.
So, when these giant financial institutions, when they make moves like this, it brings a lot of legitimacy to crypto.
Yeah, totally. And of course, we got to talk about MicroStrategy. I mean, they're like the poster child for going all in on Bitcoin.
Yeah, they're really all about it. Their strategy is pretty fascinating. They're aiming to raise like billions of dollars. I think it's $42 billion to buy Bitcoin.
That's insane. $42 billion.
Yeah, and they're even filing to raise more.
Wow.
So basically, they're using a combination of debt and equity.
Debt and equity.
Yeah, it's like they're placing a huge bet on Bitcoin.
It's a big gamble, that's for sure. Makes you wonder if other companies are going to follow their lead. But hey, maybe they're just taking cues from the new administration. Who would thought we'd have a pro-Bitcoin president?
I know, it's kind of wild. So Trump, he's openly pro-Bitcoin. And now that he's won the 2024 election, well, could mean some big changes for U.S. crypto policy.
Definitely.
And it's not just him either. He's surrounded himself with some pretty big Bitcoin supporters.
Like who?
Like RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, Don Jr., and Vivek Ramaswamy.
Wow, so a whole crypto-friendly cabinet. And then there's Senator Cynthia Lummis pushing for a U.S. strategic Bitcoin reserve.
Right, the SBR.
So what would that even mean? Like, what are the implications of that?
Well, an SBR, a U.S. strategic Bitcoin reserve, it would basically work like the gold reserves that central banks hold around the world.
Okay.
It'd be a stockpile of Bitcoin held by the government.
Interesting.
It'd be like a strategic asset,
So kind of a safety net.
Yeah, exactly. A hedge against economic problem. And some people think it could even strengthen the U.S. dollar globally.
Wow, so some pretty big potential consequences there.
Yeah, it's a big idea.
It is.
And it definitely adds another dimension to the whole conversation about Bitcoin's place in the global financial system.
Absolutely.
And speaking of global shifts, there's a lot of talk about 2025 potentially being a huge year for crypto.
I've heard that.
Some people are even calling it a golden age.
Ooh, a golden age. I like the sound of that. What's making everyone so optimistic? What are the big things we should be looking out for?
Yeah, golden age. It's a pretty exciting time to be following crypto. So a lot of the optimism is coming from the fact that we could see Bitcoin hit new all-time highs next year.
Higher than $100,000.
Yeah, potentially. And the U.S. Bitcoin Reserve, if that happens, could definitely play a role.
Right.
Plus, with a pro-crypto administration, we might see some regulations that are, actually helpful. Regulations that actually help adoption.
So less uncertainty.
Exactly. Yeah. Less uncertainty for investors.
It makes sense.
And then there's the whole thing with crypto companies going public.
Oh, yeah, like IPOs and stuff?
Right. We've heard rumors about Circle. They're the ones behind the USDC stablecoin.
Right.
They might have an IPO soon.
Cool.
And there's Figure. They focus on blockchain financial services.
I'll have to check them out.
Yeah. And even Kraken, the exchange.
No way, Kraken going public.
It's a possibility.
Wow, that would be huge.
Yeah. So basically more and more opportunities for everyday people to get into crypto.
I like it.
Yeah. It's all about accessibility. And speaking of, everyday transactions and stuff, we should probably talk about stablecoins.
Yeah, stablecoins are definitely having their moment in the sun. Everyone's using them.
Right. They're super popular for trading and even just, regular payments you're probably familiar with, like Tether and USDC.
Yeah, for sure.
They're pegged to the US dollar, so they're pretty stable.
Right.
But have you heard about stablecoin 2.0?
Ooh, stablecoin 2.0, that sounds futuristic. Is that just hype or is there something real behind it?
Oh, no, it's definitely more than hype. It's like the next generation of stablecoins,
Okay.
So with stablecoin 2.0, they're coming up with these new ways to generate revenue, and then they distribute that revenue to the token holders.
So wait, you can earn money just by holding stablecoins?
Essentially, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Right. It's like earning interest.
Okay, now I see why everyone's excited about stablecoins.
Yeah, it could be a game changer.
So we've got Bitcoin potentially hitting new highs, a more crypto-friendly government, more companies going public, and stablecoins just keep evolving. What else is coming down the pipeline? Anything else you're super excited about?
Well, there's one more thing I think is really revolutionary.
Okay, hit me with it.
Tokenization.
Tokenization.
Yeah. So have you ever wanted to, own a piece, a famous artwork? Like a Picasso or a Warhol?
Haha. Yeah, right? Like I could afford that.
Well, with tokenization, you might actually be able to.
Seriously?
Yeah, imagine owning, a digital fraction of the Mona Lisa.
Oh, whoa, that's wild.
That's what tokenization could do.
Okay, that's pretty amazing.
It could completely change how we own and trade assets.
So not just art.
No, like real estate, private company shares, all kinds of things.
So regular people could invest in things that used to be only for the super rich.
Exactly.
Man, that's really democratizing.
Right. It's a big deal.
And then there's AI. AI is everywhere these days.
And it's crazy.
It feels like it's going to touch every industry.
It probably will.
So crypto and AI, what's happening there?
Oh, all kinds of cool stuff. We're seeing AI being used for trading, for market analysis, even for creating entirely new crypto applications.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Truth Terminal?
Truth Terminal. I feel like I've heard the name, but refresh my memory.
So it's this AI-powered agent. It basically lives on social media.
Okay.
And it uses memes and stuff to promote crypto projects.
It uses memes.
Yeah, I know. It sounds kind of bizarre.
A little bit, yeah.
But get this. The guy who created it, he's a millionaire now.
Seriously. An AI crypto millionaire.
Yep.
That's hilarious, but also kind of amazing.
It just goes to show you the potential of AI in this space.
Definitely. But with all this excitement, with all this talk of a golden age, we got to remember that crypto is still pretty young, right? And it can be volatile.
You're absolutely right. It's important to keep a balanced perspective. There's a lot of potential for big gains,
Yeah.
but there's also risk.
Definitely.
So, do your research, understand the technology, and think long term.
Don't just throw darts at a board and hope for the best. So due diligence is key.
Absolutely. Informed decision-making is the best way to navigate all of this.
Makes sense. It's a lot to take in, We've covered everything from record highs to institutions jumping in, political stuff, and even AI millionaires. Bitcoin is changing so fast.
It really is. It's a dynamic space. But that's part of what makes it so interesting, right?
Definitely.
It's like we're watching a whole new financial system being born.
It is exciting, but also a little intimidating. Every day there's something new to learn about. It can feel overwhelming.
I get that. It's a lot to keep up with. I think the important thing is to just remember that you don't have to become an expert overnight.
Right.
Take your time. Learn at your own pace.
Yeah, good advice.
Focus on the fundamentals first.
Sometimes I get caught up in the hype, like it's a race or something.
Yeah, but it's really more like a marathon.
Exactly.
It takes time and effort to really understand Bitcoin and the whole crypto world.
But it's worth it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. The rewards can be huge.
So for someone listening who's maybe feeling a little lost, What's the most important thing for them to remember?
I think the key takeaway is that Bitcoin is not some fringe thing anymore.
It's gone mainstream.
Exactly. It's a powerful force. It's changing the whole financial landscape.
So even if you don't invest in it,
Yeah, even if you don't, you still need to understand it.
to stay ahead of the curve,
Exactly.
it's like the literacy test for the future of finance.
I like that, the literacy test. And like with any new language, the best way to learn is to just dive in.
Immerse yourself.
Right. Explore different perspectives, have conversations like this one.
Well said. So there you have it, folks. A deep dive into Bitcoin's incredible year and a look at what might be coming next.
It's been a wild ride, and it's only just the beginning.
Absolutely. We want to hear from you. What do you think is going to happen with Bitcoin in the next few years? Hit us up on social media. Let's have a conversation. And in the meantime, stay curious, do your research, and be smart about your investments.
Thanks for joining us.